Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to go ahead and work on camera work. And so we're going to just start from scratch here. And so we're going to put a scene in. And you'll notice that this one is called a project. And so sometimes projects will already have some motions or movements built in. And that may be something you want or don't want. In this particular scene, it came with a zoom. Okay, and if you come up here, you see that the camera system is already turned on as well, and normally by default that's not on. Okay, so that gives us a clue that there's a camera turned on. Okay, so I'm going to open up the timeline here before we get too much going on, and I'm going to actually click on two different things. For the project, I want to click on the project camera so I can see the switcher, and also I'm going to come over here on the left side, and we only have one camera to open, and I'm going to open it and look at the transform key. And you don't see anything suspicious at first, but if you go right here, this one allows the timeline to fit to the whole window. And then you'll see that there is another diamond here. And so if you scroll this timeline, you'll see that it zooms until it hits that point, and then it stops. So if you wanted to manipulate anything like that, you could come in, oh, grab the marker, let's do that. Okay, so you could come in and you could just, wow. And now it's going to zoom in pretty fast, but there it is. It gets there much faster because we moved this. You could set the timing of the scene that way. Okay? So let's say though you don't want to start out with a zoom. You just delete it. And now your project's going to be as if you just started out with by adding a background. Okay? Okay, so let me show you how they actually created, since we're still on camera, I'm going to show you how they actually created that event to happen in the first place. So if you're on frame 0 and you were to adjust the scene back here, you wouldn't see anything happen. But if you go to a frame that you wanted to arrive at, and then you go ahead and roll the mouse wheel here forward to make it zoom. So I want it to zoom to there by frame 100. You'll notice it's added automatically a keyframe. Now it's going to do the same thing that they had set up with the project, only they had this keyframe over here. And as you can see, I get a much slower zoom. Okay, so that's how you can work with that. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that into the scene. Happen pretty quick. Let's do some more work. Okay, so if you come up here, there's two ways to see your cameras. You have preview, switch, and camera. And if you go to the camera editor right beside that, you have the same thing, preview, switch, and camera. Those are the default settings. Normally that would have not had a scene, a zoom already built in, but somebody built this project, so they had that there, okay? And so I just wanted to explain that to you so you could identify when that might happen to you, what's going on. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add another camera. That's what they call it. And I'm going to zoom. So I'm going to go now to preview every time that I want to change something here without messing up. Okay, I'm going to zoom in, drag it over. Okay, and I'm just pretty much using the mouse things are going really slow because of the resources of the screen recorder. Okay, here we go. So I'm happy with this first zoom. Well, no, I'm not. I really wanted it to look better. Okay, so there we got a first zoom. Now I'm in preview. I hit the plus sign and I'm adding a camera. Okay. Now, if I were going to be doing live work and that, and I wanted to set up hotkeys, I come down here and say key number 1 is the first camera and key number 2 is the second camera. And then I could switch really easy between cameras. But I'm manually using the camera today and I don't want to mess with any of that. So here we go. Camera 0. This is camera, default camera. Camera 0 is the first one. If that makes any sense to you. And so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and set this camera switch key. And I want you to look right here because this is going to be the first switch. And you'll see a diamond appeared. Okay. It automatically captures the viewport thumbnail unless I decide to change this perspective. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm going to go back to preview. Very important to do that step. And I want to get the other side of the room, the equipment. Okay. And I'm going to hit the plus sign to add another camera. You'll see that viewport come up. And I'm going to move the timeline ahead and go ahead and hit the set camera switch key to there. And you see there's the next switch. Okay, so now here's was confusing for me at first was basically I would try to go to preview now and see my work and I'd scroll through the timeline, nothing's happening, and I'm like, okay, what happened? So you want to preview your camera work on the switch. Okay, so I'll come and hit the switch. And now when I scroll the timeline, you can see that it switches exactly wherever I set it. Okay, so let's say I didn't line things up correctly and I have, characters coming in and I want to move these cameras around. Easy. Slide them around and now it'll switch wherever I set it. Okay? All right. So we've done this. We've zoomed in. It switches to the first machines. It switches to these machines. And then I'm going to add one more thing. I'm going to click on this camera position rather than on preview this time. I'm going to click here and I'm going to do is move the timeline here forward and go on camera 1 and now I'm going to slide them over. Okay. And I'll set the camera switch key. Okay, now I should have it do what I want it to do. Okay, now see how there's not doing anything. Hit the switch button to preview. Zooms in. There's your machines. There's your machine. Pans a little bit. Perfect. Okay, let's take a quick look here at what we got. I'm going to drag my pan out just a little bit further. And I'm going to go ahead and set a stop. Now watch this little red button come over here to the timeline of where I'm at, and I'm going to hit this right here, and now this is set the stop of the scene right there. It'll only record or play between these two red bars. So let's hit play here really quick. Okay, good. So real quick here, I want to speed everything up because I only want my movie, this particular scene, to just be a very short clip. I'm going to move my stop, frame 106, and play. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to render 106 frames. and you'll want to make sure that you're in MP4. Only use the only use the movie setting when you're going to do transparent video. In fact, I think that's the only one that will do transparent. And that would be you having an actor or something that you want to put on top of video that's existing video. You can do a transparent actor, and then they'll be on top of the scene. Here we go, MP4, and always have to change this one too. We're looking for the 1080 setting always. Okay, 1080p. And then the output range is going to be the 106 frames. Okay, and just as a side note, episode 3 was published yesterday, so you can go on Hound Dog News for kids and see that version now. Okay, great. And here's another version without the city view. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.